papers now, see what the headlines are across Nigeria. I have with me in the studio leadership and communication strategist, Dr. John, as well as political technocrat, Dr. Dayo Kayode. Gentlemen, thank God it's Monday.
Yeah, good morning.
But it wasn't a good weekend anyway.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah,
it actually started for me on Saturday. I had an accident on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And, you know, I was going out very early in the morning. A vehicle just ran into me. And the vehicle I drove, I don't have a comprehensive insurance on it. So I talked to the guy, okay, since you agree that the fault actually came from you, let's talk to your own insurance company. I think at least the third-party insurance will cover my own vehicle. No insurance.
No insurance?
No driving license, nothing.
Okay. I think this is a serious issue. This is really, and these are the things road safety and the VIO has been looking against.
Sorry
and all of
about
that. I hope you're safe. I hope you're. Did you go to the hospital for a check?
No, I didn't have a cause to. Only that the vehicle is still in the hospital.
He has taken Agbo. He has taken Agbo.
Did you take Agbo? No, but it's good you're safe anyway. All right, let's begin with leadership newspaper now, and it's focusing on the coronavirus and its impact. Ghana, Rwanda, South Africa roll out drastic measures and shut down schools, worship centers, issue travel restrictions, postpone weddings, sporting events. Ghana's infection cases hit 6. A Nigerian Italian dies in Canada. Italy loses 368 people within 24 hours. That's really scary and devastating. From the leadership newspaper, let's go to Business AM now. And it says Naira is focusing on Naira stability. CBN speculators engage in battle of minds. Okay, that's what you see in the Business AM. Blueprint is next and is focusing on the tragedy that happened during the weekend. Lagos explosion. At least 15 people, 50 houses, other property wrecked. A worship center, schools affected. Inferno triggered by gas blast, as NNPC is giving revelations there. It's a national tragedy, President Buhari says that. Okay, from there let's go to News Direct. News Direct says Abule Ado pipeline explosions. Agony as NEMA recovers 17 burnt bodies, 36 children, 19 adults receiving treatment. The Navy Hospital is revealing this. A fire triggered by gas explosions. NNPC is saying this, and collaborators must be punished. Tinubu is credited as saying this. Buhari, Lawan, Gbajabiamila commiserate with families of the victims. Okay, you're certain my guests would like to talk about this as we open the discussions. From there, let's go to Daily Trust. And it focuses on something else. APC NEC meets tomorrow as Tinubu 11 governors back Oshomole. And plotters afflicted by 2023 virus. Party leader is saying that embattled chair knows fate at appeal court today. An anti-Oshomole camp wants interim committee. Okay, all that on the front page of the Daily Trust. Daily Times is next now. Explosion kills 17 in Lagos community. Injures 25, over 50 houses, other property destroyed. Kerry, NNPC top managers head to Lagos. Buhari, Lawan, Gbajabiamila, Tinubu condole with victims. Find all that on the front page of the Daily Times. All right. When it comes to pipeline explosion or gas explosion, it's not the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, even 10th or 20th one we have witnessed. But each of them comes with a devastation, with a lot of destruction, and many times loss of lives. I wonder if we have learned a lesson where some of these things can be avoided. Doctor, let me start with you on this.
At every point in time, we wish our people to rest in peace when they die. And it's quite unfortunate that we have not actually asked ourselves whether they actually died in peace. An average politician sees government as an administration thing, that, oh, once APC is there, it's an APC administration. Whatever they do is within the administration. But in reality, government programs, policies, and their perspectives and perceptions, actually it's not about administration. It's a continuum. So if you leave a problem unattended to under any guise, it's going to affect the next generation. Over time, what we have had is the inability of, number one, the agencies of government that are involved in executing some laws, enforcing some laws. We have had them just look over the laws most of the time. And I am talking about, first, what is the parameter that the law allows for people to build or to live very close to a pipeline? Let's start from there. But you see that these things keep happening every time. And we keep money as a nation. But these are avoidable deaths. Number two is when you travel my own community now, as an example, where I live in Lagos, you see that even houses have been converted to gas centers. And there are signposts all over the places. And you're wondering what is the job of the regulatory agencies of government. But to us, it doesn't matter. And
until something happens.
Until something happens. And sometimes, even if things like this happen, once it doesn't affect, quote unquote, the people of influence, we just go to church the next day and shout hallelujah, and everybody forgets about it. So it is time as a government for us to know that whatever we do or whatever we leave undone does not only affect us as a people, it affects the generation after. And there's the need for us to open our eyes. Mike, the reality is that we cannot continue to send condolence messages on issues that are preventable, that are avoidable, and that the government can do something about.
All right. Dr. Kayode, from the analysis, it looks more like an accident that happened. But on the other hand, some people will say heads need to roll when it comes to, from the regulatory, those who were supposed to ensure that these didn't happen, and all of that. What would you say?
My condolences first to those people that lost their lives in that inferno, especially there is one head of school that was trying to rescue the children in the boarding house. And incidentally, according to the news, they said that the ceiling that was burning now fell on her, and that was how she passed on. My condolences, you know. Now, having said that, looking at what you just said, it's a pity that in this part of the world, we are always reactionary instead of being proactive. You said it is an accident, but there are some accidents that are preventable. It's just, for instance, you driving your car with a tire that is bad, that already you can see the iron coming out from the tire, and you are saying, by God's grace, it will take me from Lagos to Ibadan. Before you reach Areku there, the tire will burst. So that means you intentionally embark on a journey that is infested with accidents. Now,
waiting to happen.
Yeah. Now, pipeline, laying of pipelines, that is what we call international standard, best practices, and best practices. How are you to even lay your pipelines? What are supposed to be around those pipelines? What are the activities that you are supposed to have around those pipelines? Let me give you an instance. Go to Alagbole. There's a place they call pipeline. Go and see series of activities going on around there.
Even on the pipeline?
Even on top of the pipeline. This is what we call hazard. Waiting to be ignited.
Now, but one wonders, on the other hand too, in addition to what you're saying, one wonders how shallow some of the pipelines are. One expects that the pipeline should be so deep into the ground.
Those are the things I'm saying. Standard, international standards and best practices of laying pipelines. We got to go and we got to find out and then see the way we do our own here.
Yeah, but it is seen that some of those pipelines are as old as 1960 or 1970. So the economic activities that caught up with them,
do you understand?
Washed off the ground or washed off the soil.
Exactly. Then when you even see some of them that are exposed, most of them are already rotten. You will see. You yourself will see.
Or rusted.
Yes. Is this what we call pipeline? And this is the kind of pipe that this highly inflammable product passes through? You'll be amazed. But then, when the thing now happens, they will now be shouting. Like he said, go to communities within those pipelines. You will see people selling gas. Another inflammable thing. You will see panebita. That of Alagbole Oja. That pipeline there. You see nothing less than 3 panebitas, which I know. I'm saying it categorically. Anybody can go there and find out. And when that thing now happens, they will now be saying, issue new. What kind of issue is that?
What is issue?
Why? They will say it's the work of Satan.
Oh, okay.
Do you understand? So why can't you prevent it from happening in the first instance?
A philosopher said that the way you do one thing may
is the way you do everything.
everything. Yeah. What we have actually transported into that area of our life is our general lack of maintenance. Because they often say
is it
that,
maintenance or lack of standard?
No, the thing is, as at the time...
One would say is actually maintenance.
Yes, because as at the time those pipelines were laid, I believe that they actually met our standard. But if we had the culture of maintenance, we would have known that over time, that erosion might have actually washed some of this soil, this thing away and exposed the pipe. So what are we supposed to do as a people?
Let me just get a feel of your reaction. 200 houses were said to have been destroyed as a result of that explosion yesterday. Initially, the reports were about 50 houses. Now the update is about 200 houses. Although we don't know the figures of those who have died because they were said to have been taken to the Navy hospital. I want to get your pause with what you have seen. The fire is they're still trying to put out the fire, Dr. Coyote.
You see, when they were showing that picture, it really made my heart to bleed because the impact will have been reduced if only we have also upped our games in terms of response. I've witnessed through video clips and all that, where we have fire inferno before in San Francisco, in Australia, you see, and some other areas where we have a forest like that. And you can see the way they were deploying helicopters to fight all this fire. Lagos State is supposed to be a metropolitan city. I think by now, Lagos State firefighters are supposed to have been equipped with such things to be able to fight fire right from the top. Because when you fight it right from the top, and then some other people are are on the ground, then their activities become more effective.
But with the content, like the woman was saying, with the content, it's taking a whole lot to, flush it out.
That's what I'm saying. By the time you attack it from up and then from down, it's going to flush everything out. Because as is, there are areas in which even your truck will not be able to have access road to immediately. Like when that of Dana Airline happened the other time, whereby the firefighters could not have easy access to Dana aircraft that happened at Iju or so, you know. Yeah. All they need to do is to attack it from the air. And we mentioned this in that time. But up to now, they have not done anything. And these people there, the government, they see these things happening everywhere. They go for trade fair or trade fair internationally, and they see all these equipments. I don't know why they cannot by now be having it in Lagos State at least. When you know that here Lagos State is very, very amenable to fire outbreak. So you're supposed to have developed fire service beyond what it is. It's
Now let me come in from the angle of the people, because we must also know that we are getting to that point in life where the tragedy or the mistake of one can become the tragedy of the community. So each and every one of us, when we are going out or when we intend to embark on any business, there's the need for us to think about the welfare and the well-being of the other person. Now, from what we have gathered, especially from the police, we discovered that it started with a driver.
Yes.
A driver who wanted to actually drive past on a surface where we have the pipeline and all that. And again, what made it worse, according to report, is the fact that there were gas stations close by.
Yes.
So these are some of the businesses, even if you know that when you take the back door to get license for all these things, because it's also possible that you can actually get the license through the back door. You should think about the well-being of the other people. You see, one corruption in the community eventually becomes the tragedy of the entire community. This is how the effect works. The man you go to meet, perhaps in the ministry or the agency, that takes you through the back door may also be a victim of this thing. If not directly, indirectly. There were kids in those schools. So everything we do as human beings, either we are in or out of government, we must think about the impact and the effect of it on the society.
Are we really learning our lessons?
But that's the question. You see, Doctor.
Because this is not the first time we have incidents like this.
That is what we call edicts within a state, all right? Then there is what we call enlightenment of the people. To what extent are people being enlightened as regards all these things? So many people don't know. They're not educated. So not until when you show them, well, look, this is this is that. And even when they are not following it, are they following the penal code? No. I mean, are they invoking the penal code? No. Then who are those people that are also involved in building all those filling stations? Who owns those filling stations?
There are regulatory agencies who are meant to look out for these things.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. The monitoring. There was a time we were talking about building standards and all that in Lagos State. And I was asking them, where do you put town planning? What is town planning in Lagos State doing? And somebody from that place just called. I said, we know what we are saying. And look at the effect now. This is the effect. Because all these things, if town planning had upped their game, might not have happened.
So moving forward now, because Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has said that those who are involved must be brought to book. What do you expect now moving forward, Dr.?
You see, the problem of Lagos is this huge in our face because of the failure of other states too. And let me start from that angle. Lagos is a congested community, which is owing to the fact that everybody thinks that when I get to Lagos, perhaps it's the greener area that I've been praying for within the community. So if there's a failure in any state, indirectly it puts pressure on Lagos. So when, like everyone, I am sure that everyone in Nigeria today is an indirect victim. Because from those houses you see, there will be people from Benue State, there will be people from across board.
Yeah.
So when you are looking from that angle, you see this as a national disaster. So the federal government should not leave Lagos alone in the development of Lagos. Because sometimes we may say, oh, this is what we expect. But what is important is actually taking government away from doing what is important. Because they think, oh, what's actually paramount, what's most important to my people? Is it to tackle the issue of health challenge or the education system? So these are some of the complexities also that are involved in government. But I think Lagos has enough law that can prevent all these things. What I have been hammering about is ensure that you enforce some of these laws that we have in Lagos.
So, but now that this has happened,
it is all about adequate and appropriate resource allocation. All right? Lagos has resources that can deal with some of these things. But how do they prioritize their allocation of resources? We also have to look at that. Then what are the things that they look at as the most important to them? Is it about construction? Is it about health? Is it about school? And is it about
Addressing issues like
safety of lives? Do you understand? So, and there is no amount that is too small. If you keep on appropriating resources to all these sectors, year in, year out, at a point, it will have gotten there.
Ensure effectiveness.
Do you understand? If by now, if since we have been experiencing pipeline wherever in Lagos State have been allocating money to say, okay, as we are buying firefighters from the grant, we also need to allocate money to fighting fire from the area. Yeah. By now, Lagos will be having close to 2, 3, 4, 5 helicopters to do that. And they easily be deployed to deal with fire to deal with such situations. You know,
what actually happened yesterday, if you look at it from another angle, is actually an exposure of our shallow-mindedness when it comes to maintenance. The spirit we have, even when you look at road, I've been into, what's it called? I've been into places where when you want to enter, you discover that even buildings, they have expiry, they have a lifespan. Our roads should have a lifespan. That, oh, this road is built to last for how many years? And these are some of the things that we are, these are some of the things that we're supposed to do from time to time. We do not have maintenance culture. And that is affecting every area of our life. Is it not a shame that at the end of the day, we have identified the cause of this explosion, and somebody will tell you that it's just a truck trying to cross. What is the height of the tire of a truck? That a truck is trying to cross a pipeline and it's affecting the pipeline.
And should a truck even cross? Should a truck even cross pipeline?
That is going in a different direction. But then it shouldn't be able to affect the pipeline in the first place.
It's supposed to be very, very deep.
It shows that over the time, nobody is actually checking the level of
the standard, whether
soil,
standards are being followed.
That has been washed away by erosion.
Maintenance over time.
Maintenance over time. So majorly, we have issues of maintenance, and when you don't maintain, or the tragic this thing that comes after it, the impact is always bigger than the amount of money you will use to maintain.
At the end of the day, let's quickly go back to our correspondent. Theophilus is standing by now to bring us more updates. Theophilus, what do you have for us at this point?
All right, Veronica, from what the information I just received, it's important we say it now. We hear that a lot of, they're still trying to get some people from the rubble. Now, that's according to the Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps in this Bethlehem school here. Now, they're waiting for the excavators to come around so that they can get the bodies from this place. Of course, the fire is still raging here, and it's quite serious. The firefighters are beginning to do their work now. Now, this Bethlehem College is where the school used to be, as you can see from the signpost here. Now, this school has been turned to this rubble. Now, looking at this part here, it used to be the chapel here, and this is where they have their normal services. And going further down here used to be their hostel and their canteen or whatsoever. So everywhere, everything is gone down at this point, just burnt to rubbles, like you can see. And you can see that the damage went very far, really far up to the end there. And this is the whole of Bethlehem Girls College. But we still hear that some people are still trapped in the rubble, and the firefighters as well are still trying to put the fire out. Like you can see here from what is happening here, the fire is just blazing everywhere, and the water mixed with foam has been put here several times, like you can see, but the fire still rages from, still goes as far. And so there's a lot of work for the firefighters to do today, and it's going to be, it might just be a very long day for them, because this fire doesn't look like it's going to be put out anytime.
Theophilus, just to reconfirm, Theophilus, if you can hear me, just to reconfirm, are you saying that there is no excavation truck there as you speak?
Right now, there is no excavation truck here. At this point, it's confirmed that there are no excavation trucks, but as it is right now, they are trying to work on it. Of course, we hear that the Lagos State government is going to be here quite shortly, and his convoy, I think the first batch of his convoy are here already. He will be here quite shortly. But as it is, there are no excavators here yet to try to get the remaining bodies out of this rubble.
All right, Theophilus, we'll definitely get back to you for more updates. Well, that's the school. The principal died yesterday to rescue some of the students.
Some of the children, and the ceiling fell on her. Oh
yes, a really sad development. But one from the reports we're getting, no excavation truck, because our reporter earlier was saying that they had to wait yesterday for hours to see that excavators came around. But it's shocking to see here that no excavation truck.
Rather than having the governor to visit, I would have preferred that we have an excavator, because at this point in time, I think the excavator is a little more needed than the presence of the governor.
To save those who are trapped.
Yes, to save. I had suspected yesterday that there will still have been people, the youngest, under the rubble.
Those who are afraid to climb the walls.
You understand? And now the advantage they will have had, perhaps they still have now, is the fact that many of them are young. Now, if we do the excavation now, there are possibilities
that some will still be alive.
Many of them will still be alive.
Yeah.
But that we will leave the excavation and be waiting for government officials, I think it's not the right thing to do. And it speaks a lot about our response capacity. Tragedies happen all over the place, across the world. Both developed economies and developing democracies.
But the level of response.
The level of response is what separates the developed from the developing. And we can't continue to be playing with life of people on issues like this. They didn't plan for it.
Absolutely
they
not.
Didn't plan
they
for
did
it.
Not.
So the only thing we can do to help them and help their destiny is to respond appropriately when the need arises. Immediately. So I think more importantly, and the people in government must learn this, that beyond the governor visit, beyond any government official making statement, the first thing is, let's save these people. Because imagine down there,
futures
down there,
trapped in that place.
It will occur to them. It will be occurring somewhere to them that people will come to their rescue. We must not fail them.
And that is what it
We
is,
must
keeping
not fail
hope
them.
alive.
Yeah,
We must not
and
fail
that
them.
is why most of the time I kept on talking about being proactive. We are more of reactionary country rather than being proactive in so many ways. Look at even this coronavirus thing. It's all about reacting. Why can't we for once develop our level of proactiveness so that if anything happens, we'll be able to attend to it promptly? But it's a pity we never learn.
It's
day.
almost 24 hours now.
I mean,
and these people are still trapped under the rubble.
Excavators that are everywhere. Go to that, even that particular road. You see a lot of excavators there for lease, for rent, for sale.
Whatever
on that area, even on that area. On the road on that area, you see them there. Go to Mushi, go to Ilasa Road there.
One wonders what could be the challenge.
So, I really don't know.
When you're talking about being proactive, Veronica, incidents, circumstances in life, they are like rainfall. You may not be able to prevent it.
Absolutely.
But it is your duty to make your gutters and your drain system to work very well.
Absolutely.
That is preparation.
Yeah.
You see, proactive leaders are in control of event. Reactive leaders are controlled by event. So whatever anything happens, it is then they will begin to run from pillar to post. We cannot continue. There must be the need for us to rise above this.
We are now talking about 270 days of rain. Ask Lagos State, what preparation are they making for it?
Before we continue our discussion, we hear that the governor of Lagos State is at the scene of the incident, and we'll have to quickly get back to our correspondent to see quickly what is going on. But then before we go to our correspondent, the governor is already there. I wonder what you look forward to hearing him say about this incident. You say we are reactive, but then he is there, and to some that might be a proactive step.
Now, sometimes our system in Nigeria, governance system in Nigeria, is like a 40 vehicle. A 40 vehicle, manual vehicle that is 40. You may need somebody to push it, and that's the job most of the time of the leader. Sometimes things that are supposed to happen naturally, you hear that, oh, the president has not spoken. When the president speaks, it's like pushing a vehicle. Sometimes it makes the vehicle eventually work. Maybe the presence of the governor now will make the vehicle, the 40 vehicle
the
of the
excavator.
system. Because if he gets there now, I know people will be running, the eye service people will be running, head trascator to get things done. So I expect that his presence perhaps may be the little push we have in the vehicle of system that should ordinarily be working. Now, so that's the second thing is the normal condolence that we give, and we wish those that have died to rest in peace, even when it is obvious they didn't die in peace.
Dr. Kayode, what would we be expecting the governor to do or say at this point?
Nothing other than what they normally do, to just go there.
What we normally do, that's our lifestyle in Nigeria.
Just go there, we are sorry for this, it will not happen again. We set up a commission of inquiry to find out what has happened, this and that. Head must roll, this must roll. At the end of the day, when they now find out that it's the people that even caused the wahala, it's a close aid of theirs, they just bury it, and that's the end.
But I think this the things that are actually, you know, putting fire, if I may use that word, and causing these things to reoccur, because we are not seeing justice being done.
The one that happened, during Christmas.
Yes.
Isn't it?
The fire
towards
towards
the end of last year.
Yeah, at is it Abule Ado also?
Yes.
Abule Ado.
What have we seen?
What have you seen? Did we hear anything about it again? After the condolence visits and all that?
The thing is
but what lessons did we learn from it?
Are we really learning lessons?
Are we not going even from fry pan to fire each day?
In most of the time,
it's appalling.
Mistake of government. I think perhaps we need to learn more. Most of the time, justice is served, but the way you serve justice
does not show that justice was served.
The way you serve justice most of the time is more important than justice is served. And this is what I mean. If you have a public disaster, you do not serve a secret justice.
Yeah.
If it happens in the eye of everybody, and everybody is aware that this thing really happened, when you have to serve justice, you must make it a public justice. That will prevent another generation of people from doing that same thing. But when you serve justice secretly for an open disaster like this, people just feel like, oh, government hasn't done anything.
Wait,
and they continue.
If you serve justice secretly, that means you will not serve anything.
Justice.
Okay, that's the live visuals from the scene of the incident. The Deputy Governor, Obafemi Hamzat, arriving at the scene to perhaps take a look at what has happened, on-the-spot assessment of the fire incident or the explosion that happened yesterday. He and his aides arrived there. We are told, according to reports from our correspondent who is at the scene of the incident, that about 200 houses were destroyed, and the number of those who died for now still remains at 17. But then we are going to hear what the Deputy Governor will be saying later on, because we'll be keeping a close tab on this to bring you more updates. He is being shown the impact, the devastating impact, if I might use the word, of the explosion that happened yesterday. Gentlemen, we can see the Deputy Governor is already present at the scene of the incident on the spot assessment of what happened.
You can see people now carrying cameras and all that, doing all
those are his aides. I guess
all those paparazzi.
He's been told how it happened, the incident, the impact of the incident yesterday. Obviously, I'm sure the man from his description, he's trying to tell him that a truck was trying to make a turn, and then you know, hit.
And how much will it have cost us to prevent a truck to drive above the line? Perhaps just a barricade of less than $1 million naira, but look at the damage now. I'm not even concerned about the property. Let's talk about the people that lost their life.
Yes.
I think it should get to a point, gradually, I think we should get to a point where we begin to value life.
I think that's where my next question is.
If one person dies,
the value we place on lives.
Yes, unjustly, then we must respond to it as a community. The way it is now, go to Lagos now. There's traffic everywhere because nobody even cares. In reality, we have heard this thing over the time. We have seen it over the time that our psyche, Our mindset is getting used to it.
But how did we even get to this point, Dr. Kayode, where it seems like we don't place as much value on lives? Is it because we've witnessed so much disasters, incidents that we see that life is nothing? Negligence?
Yes. Everything that we're supposed to have taken care of, we decide to neglect it. Out of self-interest. Where they're supposed to put money, when they budget money for a particular incident, for a particular operation or for a particular project, some people up there prefer to pocket that money than to expend that money on what is meant for. And to that extent, what we're now supposed to do, we leave it undone.
Because it has nothing to do with me.
Because they will just say, no, mine is just to make money. They are just there to make money. Forgetting that the money you are making today, by tomorrow, is valueless.
I think at
the end of the day, the whole society suffer for it. Like it's happening now. I can bet you, go and check the budget. Money allocated to emergency response in Lagos State for 10 years. Then look at how much money have been released in Lagos State for 10 years to such emergency response. And then let us now look at that vis-a-vis what we have on ground. Whether there's going to be a correlation between the amount of money given out in 10 years and what we have
budget
on
for
ground.
it.
I think if I should pick it from there, I think we have what I call 40 parental governance system. And this is what I mean by 40 parental governance system. If you plan for 3 kids and you have 5 as a parent, you have caused a disaster for yourself. Now, if a man has 10 children and one of them is getting missing, and a man has 1 and that only one is getting missing, there's a possibility that the level of their response will be different.
Have been following developments at the scene of yesterday's incident where there was an explosion that is at Abule Ado in Lagos State, and we see that the Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat is at the scene for an on-the-spot assessment of what happened yesterday, and he's been briefed by officials of the fire service and the emergency response present at the scene. As at this morning, according to a correspondent, about 200 houses were destroyed. At this point, about 17 persons are said to have died. We do not have an update on that figure yet, but then as soon as we get it, we will be bringing you up to speed with regards to that number. We'll get back to our correspondent for more updates, but before then, I still have my guests here in the studio talking about this incident, Dr. Ojo and Dr. Dayo Kayode. Dr. Before we went on break, you were trying to share a thought.
So, I said the government has a wrong parental mindset. If you have 1 child and that child gets missing, and another person who has 10, if one of the 10 gets missing, you see that the level of response will be different. Now, that's the principle of any maku. If you have many, and that is why after 24 hours, we are still complaining that there's possibility that some of these people are still down there, trapped there. But if we have a right mindset, if all of us know that the only child we have is just 1, if we know that we have only 1, that is the principle of value to life. By now, everybody in Lagos will be there trying to rescue them. We'll not be talking about excavator at this point in time. But because we were not prepared as a nation for the population explosion that we are having, can you imagine that there's a conflict as to the population figure? Now, let's cite an example. If somebody says we have 200 million people in Nigeria, and another person says, no, we have only 200 million and one people in Nigeria. Have you ever asked yourself, if you are that one that is not captured in the government plan, that means your government does not know that you exist. That's the mindset.
But Doctor, I'm sorry, I will never agree with you that we have population explosion.
How many were we?
Nigeria.
In 1960, we were 50 million people.
Listen.
Even as at 1982, we were somewhere around 70 million.
Listen.
Now,
So
the only thing
is
that
this
grew is
challenge
the
as a result of the population explosion?
Listen,
Our parental
our
mindset.
problem is all about two things.
Quickly, because I need to move over.
Inappropriate resource allocation. Then greedy and insipid leaders who cannot think ahead.
Who doesn't those are weighty words.
Who doesn't
we have to be
no,
cautious.
No. It's not about being weighty. It's not about, I mean, it's normal. They don't have no vision. Do we have a vision? No. Do we have a philosophy we are basing all our things on? No. What's our population? Compared to India, compared to China, compared to some other states. What's our population? But then look at the vast resources we have.
To their benefit.
Then look at the vast resources we have. How many of those resources have we been able to exploit?
All right,
even the few that we exploit, what use have we made of it?
Let's leave the thought
There's
here
nothing like
at
population
this
explosion.
point.